Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Valleycast podcast. My name is Elliot Morgan. I'm here with Joe Daniel Beretta.
Thank you for
It is
having me.
Sunday. Absolutely, Joe. Thank you for being here. It is Sunday morning. It's 9:47, folks. Joe is in his kitchen slash dining area. I am in my outhouse, and we're having a great time. Joe's already pooped today, and
Oh,
as have I.
oh, congratulations.
Thank you. Twice,
Congratulations.
actually.
Twice.
Yeah.
Somebody's one of those rich people.
Yeah.
Don't feel like watching movies, so I'll watch people guess them instead. I don't know how it goes. I think it starts with your show.
Actually, though, not to get too quick into the stories here, Joe, but I did go to Vegas. This is a perfect segue. Poop. Grace and I went to Las Vegas, and this was a Christmas gift she got me last Christmas to see the
Oh,
Killers perform their 20th anniversary for their album Hot Fuss.
that is a good gift, A, because you weigh, B, well, sub A. Good gift, A, because
A1.
A1, uh, it's one of those gifts that sneaks up on you and you forgot that it happened. Like, oh crap, I
Yes.
got to do that Christmas gift now? I
Yeah,
wasn't thinking about this forever. And that's what happened with you and
exactly.
I at the Foo Fighters concert that we
Exactly.
went to. That was a birthday present.
Yes. Which was also my birthday present. And so thank you for taking me. So we did the Foo Fighters, and then shortly after, Grace and I did the Killers. Different vibe, both great shows.
It looked
Now
packed.
here's the deal.
Looked packed. Looked like,
So packed. Yeah, I mean they know how to do it. The show was wonderful. We that day were like most fun day ever. We just roamed around, went down to downtown. Grace won $1,000 playing the Little Shop of Horrors game by herself.
that's,
When I'd walked away, and she just texted me because we love our pony game, and we found the OG pony game that uses actual
ooh.
quarters. Yeah, incredible.
And
And you have a
little
bucket,
little people underneath going,
little tiny
dollars.
people, yeah, and they hit the horses, and
Yeah.
tiny horses are like genetically modified. It's incredible. And so it was a super fun day. We woke up the next day and we were like, we had one whole extra day to kind of recuperate. And I go into the restroom to do my morning poo,
Okay, okay. As you do.
and fortunately I was second. Unfortunately for the toilet, it didn't go well.
Oh
And
boy.
so I spent like the next hour, it was like turd galore. And then I go to flush it, and it was like immediately, I was like, oh no, that's not good. And the water starts rising,
Which is the
and the fear
worst.
starts building.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anxiety in an aquatic situation.
And I'm looking around like if this hits the floor, is going to be bad. And I was looking at, okay, I got towels here, and I'm like moving them out of the way. I'm looking, there's no plunger around. And then I was Googling like hotel tricks to get the toilet to not be clogged. And I was like, babe, did you use a lot of toilet paper? And she was like, no. And I was like, okay, well, we got toilets clogged. And she was like, well, I'm going to have to go soon. And I was like, I know. I was like, and I was like, I
Uh,
guess I'll call. And I like finally made the call down, and I was like, hi, would you mind sending a plunger up? The toilet's a little clogged, and it's pretty bad in there. And Grace was like, I wish I had filmed you doing that. And then it was like 5 minutes later, and this guy comes. He's like the nicest, happiest guy. And he goes in there for 2 seconds. And I'm staring out the window at that stupid sphere filled with shame. I couldn't make eye contact with him. And he goes, okay, all set. Bye. And I was like, thank you so much.
on the
And
sphere
then
is a live stream of your bathroom. Him just plunging away.
I'm looking at myself, looking at the sphere, looking at the sphere. And so then the next morning, we go to flush the toilet again. Assuming everything's fine, and it was making that little sound, like
Oh,
that real
like
soft.
struggling toilet, like
Yeah,
it's on
yeah,
its last legs.
exactly. And I was like, babe, we got maybe 3 flushes left in this thing. And we gotta go. We gotta blow this pop stand. And she was like, I hope I should. I was like, maybe don't flush unless you have to, or do separate flushes. And like, I don't know. And finally, we were able to do it and get out of there. But wonderful time.
By the way, my favorite 1920s actress was Turd Galore. She was great.
Really? Yeah, she was amazing. It's really sad what they did to her.
She got stuck in the studio system,
I know. It's really sad. Thank God for unions. Speaking of unions,
too late for Turd.
Joe, I have a number of topics today. You ready? Confessions.
Oh, I love confessions.
Okay, here we go.
Let me put up the screen. Let me put on my...
Yes. Thank you.
All right, let's do it.
Hello, Father. Thank you for having me. Ibsen. I have recently realized that I love J.D. Vance. Father?
Yeah, I know you do. And I know why. Because he is a walking train wreck of a bit of a human being.
That is correct. That is correct, Father.
Unbelievable.
It's incredible. It is incredible, dude.
Who would have known?
He is a gift. And I know what I'm referencing. I think what we're referencing, the donut video.
The donut shop video.
We had in-laws over yesterday, but I wanted to film a TikTok where it's me dressed as J.D. Vance in a suit, but it's me staring in the mirror, like practicing what I'm going to say in the donut shop. Like,
oh, so good.
Zoo's coming to town. Zoo's coming into town. Hey,
yeah, how long have you worked here?
Well, okay, good.
How long have you worked here? Good.
Good.
God, I'm telling you, dude, he is like what did I say? Was it to you? He is a tree wearing human skin, trying to fit in.
I have yet to see him say something that just seems okay. I don't even want to use the word normal because I feel like that now the weird thing is getting kind of like, but my goodness, like it's a level of unlikability and lack of charisma that I've never seen in American politics. Maybe, I mean, there's been some duds, but he's a special kind of lack of charisma.
Well, he's a dud because he's a special dud, as you say, because he's the duds prior duds. They were at least politicians for long enough that they could like rattle off politician stuff, talk like a politician. It may have been boring, but at least they were like throwing out the verbiage and they had their talking points. This dude hasn't done it long enough, so he's not even doing that well. So it's a shit show train wreck that is spectacular. It's got fireworks.
It is.
The fireworks don't take off. They're the ones that like kind of come out of the artillery cannon, but then bounce on the ground.
Yeah. Someone gets their hand blown off.
Yep.
Yeah, he it does seem like he makes me believe in God because I do think he's a gift and I feel like he's made in a factory. Because he does, the way he talks is like he's kind of seethingly angry all the time.
Because he thinks he's supposed to be. He thinks that's the character he's supposed to be.
Whoa, you're looking good, man.
Ah! Yeah.
It's that faux masculinity. Anyway.
It's wonderful. And because he's cosplaying on the Republican ticket and doesn't know what the hell he's supposed to be, there's no direction he knows how to go. It's very fun.
I'm running for vice president of the United States. Okay.
Good. Okay. Good.
Okay. Good. Yeah, I just throw the cinnamon ones in there. Throw whatever fits in the box, whatever goes in the box.
My God.
He couldn't even just say donuts. He couldn't say types of donuts. Just say types of donuts.
Just say old fashioned. Say that donut.
Act like you want them. I don't know. Just put whatever's in the box. Put it in there.
I really love a bear claw. Are Republicans supposed to like bear claws? Okay, Roger.
Yeah,
really like a bear claw.
That's not a gay thing? Okay.
Wait. Nope, that's probably the gayest donut.
That's a gay donut. No, it's too gay. I don't do bear claws. Too gay.
So, man, it's fun. We've talked about how the pendulum swings, and this year, the pendulum has swung, I think, from complete hate to a sense of joy, which is fun, and that's what we're leading to, and I love that. But it's also a massive swing on both tickets. Both tickets are so polar opposite in every single way. You got Vance, but then you got Walls.
Yeah.
Same white man, but man, they're not.
Oh, so different.
Oh, so good. Coach. I love that we can call him Coach.
Yeah.
Great.
Even I saw this thing where it was like a fair. I don't know if it was in Minnesota or what, but it was like one of those booths that they set up that was like an anti-Walls booth that was like no to Walls. I don't remember what it was exactly, but it had a cartoon of him that was like smiling, wearing like commander, sergeant, whatever he supposedly, allegedly didn't do. And then he's holding like a tampon, like it's a caricature of him holding a tampon with a that says like boys room on it. And even the caricature, like he still looked pretty likable. Like it was still like a kind of adorable old big jowls face.
Yeah. Some people are caricature ready all the time, and I'm sure you're one of them. You can't. Anyways, not to dive into politics too much, but it's fun.
No.
It is fun.
It's fun. We enjoy it. JD Vance is fun. Second thing, have you seen Joe? Grace showed me this TikTok trend that is basically people saying, this is again going to be a little dark, but very funny. It's people saying their worst like traumas, but they end it by adding candy to like a candy salad. So it'll be like, when I was 8, my dad hit me, got arrested, and then ended up dying in jail. Anyway, I brought the Skittles, and it is really funny. I was telling Greg, like, this is just a classic joke structure. Would you mind if should I send it to you? Thanks, Joe.
I'm Paige, and whenever my parents got a divorce, my mom made me bleach my hair because she said I looked too much like my father, and I brought the bowl.
Hi, I'm Keely, and when I was little, my mom used to drive me by the jail to visit my dad, and he would wave at us through the little jail windows, and I brought Sour Punch Bites.
I'm Paige, and when I was younger, my parents ripped off their drug dealers, so they followed me and my siblings and tried to kidnap us, so we had to call the police, and we were placed in foster care shortly after, and I brought the trolley crawlers.
My God.
I'm Keely, and 2 of my mom's sisters got pregnant by the same guy, so now my cousins are also half siblings. And I brought Airhead.
It's so genuine.
I'm Paige, and one of my ex's mothers asked my parents for a threesome, and I brought a Swedish fish.
Where did they live?
I'm Keely, and when I was little, my dad was supposed to pick me up from school. My mom showed up instead and said, sorry, your dad robbed the co-op with my uncle, and he's in jail. And I brought Sour Patch Kids.
I'm Paige, and on an angry phone call with my mother, she ended the call by saying, and by the way, your dad is dead. And I brought the not so sour punch bites.
I'm Keely, and when I was younger, my mom's side of the family didn't want me around because my dad is black. And I brought Nerds gummy clusters.
Ooh, great pick.
I'm Paige.
Yeah, I've said the same thing, dude.
My mothers came to me crying hysterically and told me how she had planned to murder my father and leave the body for me to find the next morning. And I brought Haribo berry pies.
I'm Keely, and one time my mom took me on a car ride to run over my dad's new girlfriend. And I brought sweet tarts. Like and comment for a part 2.
How can there be a part 2?
That's some of the comments like, girl, there's no part 2.
Holy crap. Those 2 girls might be the funniest on the planet.
Yeah. There's another like few girls that did the kind of roundabout thing. And one of them was like, one time when I was in middle school, my mom wouldn't let me go to a friend's sleepover because she thought the dad was creepy. And 3 weeks later, it was found out that he'd killed 6 people and was a serial killer. Anyway, here's the gumdrops. It's really incredible.
That is an amazing trend. It's the type of thing that like SNL would look at and they'd pick up and they'd go, ooh, we should parody this. But they can't because those 2 girls just did the best version of it ever.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, then them
that really made me, now I'm in TikTok. It took years, but that sold me. And
are you
all
a scroller
day,
yet? You're a scroller?
I'm not scrolling, but I'm respecting it. Because honestly, the website or the app still stresses me out. Like, when you get sent a TikTok and you open it, does it play another TikTok for a second and you gotta like wait?
Dude, I don't open the app ever, so I don't know.
Oh, really? How do you not open the app? Are you on?
I just don't
do it.
I just don't. And plus, because Instagram's basically ripped it off enough that I fall into accidentally scrolling on that platform just as much as I would on TikTok. So I'll open it when I post something, which is rare these days.
Yeah. Yeah, Grace will send me, she'll go in like a wormhole and then she'll send them to me over text. And it's such a pain in the butt to open them, so I just don't. And then last night she was like, no, you're going to need to watch these. And
dude, their delivery was them cracking up before they even finished the sentence, before they even got to the candy, it's comedy gold.
It really is. I told Greg, I was like, this is the perfect joke structure, because it's basically so anyway, like just saying the darkest thing possible. And there's some candy. It's perfect.
They better eat all that candy, by the way. That was a good mix.
The candy looked really good. And I appreciate, dude, your recognition of, which brings us to our next topic. Nerd clusters are incredible.
They're the new it, man. Like, they are the it. They are crack. Yeah. I'm very angry and upset that they were not part of my childhood. Like, if I was doing that trauma bowl right now, I'd be like, I grew up without nerd clusters. Oh, by the way, here are my Sour Patch Kids.
Right, exactly.
Yeah,
That's very funny. I love that. You said Sour Patch Kids because you didn't have nerd clusters, and that was just trauma. Yep. Yeah, are nerd clusters nerd rope but cut into pieces?
Yeah, it's so good. They're so good.
I don't want the rope. I've never wanted the rope, but it's too intimidating.
Right. Agreed. Also, you wouldn't. Everything has its geometrical structure, and it does matter when you're eating it. Yep. It's like string cheese. I would never want nuggets of string cheese, but I do like a big old cylinder that I can peel its skin off slowly.
Yes. Unless you fry it, and then I'll take it. I'll bite it in little pieces with it.
Okay. That I understand, but that's usually a pretty good length still. It's still long as opposed to wide.
Yeah, that's true. And it does string out still. Yeah.
And that's important. That is important.
The nerd clusters I got randomly, and they can't be good for your teeth because you're just crunching on the worst stuff ever, but my goodness.
You're crunching on sugar bombs. So it's not great. It's not good. Okay, well, that's awesome. Tell me about going to the Killers a little bit more. I would love to know what that concert experience was like compared to the Foo Fighters that we went to.
Excellent question, Joe. And I did want to talk to you about this. So the Foo Fighters concert was excellent. I think the main difference was not in the quality of the performances, but rather the venue itself. And I have found, I think, that smaller venues are, of course, a little better, but there's something special about the arena because it's more like a festival and you can get up, it's like you're in a stadium. But the Killers, dude, were unbelievably good. Like the Brandon Flowers is it was such an ode to Vegas in general, and the set design of everything was so just beautiful, and like very my style of Vegas, like very that kind of kitschy old style. Like he would occasionally bust into like Elvis Presley or like Frank Sinatra and do like those little interstitials for some of the, more boring songs on Hot Fuzz. And then the second half of the show was nowhere near as long as Foo Fighters. It was like right around 2 hours, and Foo Fighters did 3 hours. The second half, he busted out with like The Man, and then Caution, and Read My Mind, and then they ended with like Bright Lights, which is their new song, and then finally When You Were Young. Just the from start to finish, amazing. And they're from Vegas, which makes it really cool. And he's
hometown crowd.
Yep.
So the first half was the Hot Fuzz, and then the second half was not Hot Fuzz.
Correct, yeah. And the crowd was, you could kind of tell like a mix of ages, not a lot of young people, some kids. The Basically we were in the front row of like the upper section, and so we sat down and there was like two people next to us, and then it was me and Grace. And it worked out really well because this woman that was next to us, she was probably maybe 8 years older than us, 10 years older, and with her husband. And it was like she and I knew every song, and she was so calm throughout everything. We didn't say a word to each other the whole time, but she was super chill. We were all just hanging there, sitting, waiting. When the show starts, it's like she just lost her mind and was just this like older woman just freaking out over Brandon Flowers, and she starts pointing, and then I start pointing, and then Grace and the other woman's husband are just kind of like, yeah, this is nice. We kind of like the music. So it was basically just me and this woman rocking it out together. But it was funny when like I would know songs and she wouldn't, and then we would sit down for a second, she'd sit down for a second, and we'd stand back up and get all. It was a really great show. So
I like that you guys had this like you had this relationship, but it was nonverbal the entire
nonverbal.
time.
Yeah, it was just like mutual respect. We're being real nice, and then when it was done, everybody just spills out into the crowd or into Vegas, and we walked back, and it was a lovely lovely day, and it was done by like 10. Ooh. We went back, watched the DNC for a little bit, and then flossed, brushed our teeth, and went to bed. So
wow,
pretty good
you guys totally did not Vegas it up, but like they left enough time. Yeah. If you wanted to, you could have left a concert and then went and done blackjack for a few hours. That's great.
I know. Yeah, the next day I was like, babe, we could go. We could do it again. We could go back and see the show again if we wanted.
But we don't want to. We're not going to do that. Did anybody open for him, or was it just the Killers?
Just the Killers. At Vegas, it's like there's no opening thing. It's like it starts and it goes and it's done.
Oh, is this a residency?
I guess technically, because they're like fly and do different shows elsewhere, but then they're coming back to do this for, I don't know if it's like a week or 2 weeks, but it's just the Hot Fuss special thing. I was kind of hoping it'd be, I would prefer, if it was like a full regular concert, but it was fine. It was very cool.
Super cool. Was it also, because this was inside, correct? As opposed to open. And was there a pit of sorts? Was there a standing room only at the front of the stage?
There was. I was telling about that when you and I went to Foo Fighters with Grace. It was a smaller pit and definitely not a lot of moshing going on because it's the Killers. But it was the same idea of there being a few people that can stand and then most people like sitting behind. Yeah. And most people were standing when the show started until it's just Hot Fuss. The album just gets kind of boring after a little. Oh, dude, what? There was one moment where there's a song called "Everything Will Be All Right," and like his voice or whatever, I'm not familiar with that song. He just starts singing that line over and over again, like in Good Will Hunting, when the guy's like, "It's not your fault. It's not your fault." Like he does it. It was like a hypnotic thing where I was like, Grace and I were just like kind of sitting there in silent, like stunned silence. And then I started feeling, I was like, am I going to start crying? And then Grace looks at me and she's like, this song is beautiful. And I was like, I know. I don't. And I look around and like the woman next to me is just like wiping tears off of her eyes. And I was like, oh, this is working. Like this dude's just singing "Everything Will Be All Right." And everyone in the crowd is going like, thank you, Brandon. Thank you.
Brandon, this is why we're here. You've always been that guy for me.
Your teeth are so white. He did have the whitest teeth.
Is it natural or did you get work done, Brandon?
I think you got work done, Brandon.
Are those veneers? Which are
because he's so Mormon that he doesn't drink or coffee or I'm assuming or drink alcohol. Brandon Flowers, and I was like, man, I guess that's what your face looks like when you don't drink and you get that old. Like he's a little younger than my brother.
Aged.
Yeah, I'm like, his skin is incredible looking. Anyway, funny. It was really good time, good Christmas present. So shout out to Grace, shout out to Killers, recommend going, and also shout out to Carrot Top, who also is a big Killers fan, who I was hoping to see there, but I think he went on another night. And then the next night, the Killers drummer went to see Carrot Top. So
those are weird details that I'm surprised you know, but that's great.
Yep, I follow Carrot Top on Instagram, and I don't know why. he's a fascinating person. I think I know why. It's mostly jealousy, but
and he is legitimately fascinating.
Yeah. And he stands in front of the camera and like drinks wine and like lip syncs to country music almost every night. I think he makes $7 million a year or something.
His character and physical arc has been a joy to watch. He's like Danny Elfman. They're just buff rednecks. Yeah. It's crazy.
Like, exactly. Yeah. And he's ripped. I guess I read something of his, like, he was like, I got to stop working out because I don't want to get too big. I'm like, you're pretty big. You're a big boy. So
you should probably have thought of that earlier, my friend.
Should maybe thought about that. All right.
Mm-hmm. And
another life pro hack, Joe, that does relate to Vegas is Liquid IV, not sponsored. I've gotten really into their bombsicle flavor. So I got that going for me.
I love it. You're an adult.
Yep. Yeah, and yeah, Grace, I was putting it in there. She goes, having your little popsicle, your little sugar water in the morning. But it is was really a lifesaver. So I'll have some right now.
It's man, it's good. It's not bad. Get those electrolytes in you. Make sure you feel good the next day.
It's pure sugar.
I found I just last night bought a new form of fatty water. Fatty water being non-alcoholic beer. I got the Guinness, and it tastes exactly like Guinness.
No way.
Dude, it's great.
Man.
It is highly recommended if you like drinking a steak.
Yeah, I know. When I was in Belfast, I was like, I gotta have a Guinness. And I had it, and I was like, maybe I'm just not like a Guinness fan, because this is supposed to be like the best Guinness. Well, Dublin, I guess.
Yeah.
But maybe it's not just not my type of beer. I don't know.
It's so heavy. It's like drinking liquid metal. Like it's different. It's an experience. It's almost like in a state between solid and liquid.
Yeah.
And you're not quite sure what it is. But that little nitro malt, boom, it's good.
Yeah, I do like that nitro thing. And it's good to know that the non-alcoholic tastes good. Is the non-alcoholic, it is fatty? It makes you fat?
It's all fatty water.
Yeah.
It's got more than water. Yeah. And basically you're drinking flavored water at the end of the day if you're not drinking it for anything else, which is where I'm at in life. And I enjoy it. But shout out to Yorma from the Lonely Island. I was listening to their podcast, which I highly recommend, by the way.
Oh, really?
They are doing well, anyways, before that tangent, on it, he was talking about drinking non-alcoholic beer because he was kind of paralleling my existence too. Like he was like, coming out of COVID, I was drinking too much and I had to make sure I was not an alcoholic, which is basically what I did as well. And they just started laughing at each other and calling it fatty water. So I love that.
That's fun.
But the podcast is really fun. If you are interested in the career arc of the three boys in their time on SNL, they're doing a podcast with Seth Meyers. Seth Meyers and the Lonely Island podcast is what it's called. And every episode, they're talking about every single digital short they made. From the start to finish of their journey on SNL. But in it as well, they've got like all the old show notes because they have access to it. There's this big SNL archive that if you are on the show or you've ever been part of it, you can go into the SNL archive and you can find every show script in every show and every sketch ever done, and they can watch it and they have access to it. So they are not only going over the inspiration, the production, and the reception of digital shorts and the Lonely Island themselves on SNL. They're also talking about very specific stories behind the scenes of every episode that they're talking about as well. It's great. Super fun if you're an SNL fan.
That's cool. That's a good concept. What's that called? A retrospective?
It's a retrospective, and it's really funny as well because Andy Samberg, who turns out is maybe a curmudgeon a little bit. He hates podcasts and he hates doing them, and he lets it be well known the entire time.
That's fine.
Very good. But yeah, it's my favorite podcast to listen to right now.
Speaking of podcasts, I was gonna send this in the group thread last night, but I figured I'll talk about it now. But I was listening to a podcast called The Joe Rogan Experience. Not a lot of people have heard of it, but
wait, what? The who? What's it about?
Mm-hmm. Joe Rogan is the number one comedian of our generation. He is a trailblazer. Just structurally, the jokes that he writes are, bar none. But besides that, he does an occasional podcast, and he had Lou Elizondo on. Now, I don't know if you're familiar with that name, Joe, but that's why I clicked on. Now, Lou Elizondo is a former Pentagon official who headed up the UAP something or other at the White House.
We're talking aliens. We're talking aliens.
Talking aliens. Now, he's also an interesting figure within ufology, and he recently had a book released called Imminent that I have listened to the intro of, but have not gotten past that yet. But my buddy he's gotten around to chapter 6. It's about 10 hours. So I'm looking forward to diving into Imminent. However, I kind of got the impression he's a little full of shit. And I really don't like that because he's it's almost like he's too likable, like the opposite of the JD Vance syndrome, where it's like it's hard to describe because there's been stuff that's come out. There's this guy named the Black Vault that basically does FOIA requests all the time, the Freedom of Information Act, which which means that technically you can get anything that's a government.
Please release that.
Exactly. And he does this as essentially a job. And over the years, he's found that, we don't have anything related to Elizondo. And then all of a sudden they're like, hey, we suddenly found some things. And the Department of Defense's reactions to the FOIA requests have been odd, and they seem to point in the direction of Elizondo being a truthful person. Or at least the Department of Defense obfuscating or avoiding the reality that trying to distance themselves from the fact that Elizondo was intimately involved in the goings on in the Pentagon.
Okay, so it's getting interesting.
Yeah, and so we'll see how all that goes and develops, but it's an interesting thing because the guy who does the Black Vault seems like reasonably like a very honest person, but there's just something about some of the stuff and the way that he talks where I'm like, I don't buy it. So I want you to know, I want if anyone listens to it or has listened to it listening, please let me know what you think. Because I'm truly on the fence. It's just like, I don't know if it was me reading into it, but last night I was like, I think certain, it's really just rhetoric. It's the way people communicate. And every now and then I'm like, the way you're talking seems a little slick and a little
like the salesman.
Kinda, almost, yeah. But not snake oil in the sense of like totally obvious, but maybe like he's like a military guy. Like Joe Rogan will say something, he'll go Roger. And maybe he means Roger, or maybe saying Roger is kind of a way of ingratiating himself in a certain archetypal, a little I'm that guy, and smokes a cigar, and he's got this kind of brand about him. But I don't necessarily think he's not being truthful.
Was Joe Rogan the entire time doing his Joe Rogan thing where he goes, "Whoa"?
He kind of go, he does like, "Whoa," and he'll go, what about, well, we have the government, like he was actually pretty unimpressed most of the time. Just kind of, he would ask questions, or like, well, that's not the question you're asking. Like you should be. I would ask a different question if I was you, Joe Rogan. But it's. I was a little like, because I'm going to listen to his book now, and it's the same thing when listening to the book, because I'm like, are you going to sound believable? Was
there, despite it being believable or not, was there a moment in his diatribe where you were like, that's an interesting point? Like, what was the most interesting thing the dude said?
I feel like I made a note the other day, but I haven't finished it. But he definitely claims some stuff. I think it was also an old episode. No, I just made a separate note about him. But I think it was an old episode before his book came out, so he was being a little vaguer than normal. But, he says things like there's 4K footage, that the videos that we have, the gimbal footage, the go fast, whatever, the Nimitz, that these are basically like the worst quality videos that we have, but that they have not been released to the public, that there is incontrovertible proof, but it just so happens to not have been released.
Okay.
which is kind of a wonderful, a very funny phrase. Like there's incontrovertible proof. It just, you can't, it's just not there.
It's like, can you see it? Well, you can't see it.
Nah.
No, you can't. We're not going to let you see it, but it's there.
Yeah. It's like the classic trust me, bro thing.
Yeah.
And then there's like the whole, yeah. And then there's the whole like narrative of it's a national security interest. And, you know, these pilots have been seeing things for a long time, and, you know, different countries are taking initiatives. It's not just America. China is doing a huge thing. I think France is doing something. But, you know, you should give it a go just because you have a good bullshit detector.
Man, I really hope this all comes to fruition for you. You're so invested, and I love that you found a hobby. And I want it to have a great crescendo, a zenith moment that really just brings it all home for you.
I would love that. I don't think it's ever going to happen, but I think that's kind of okay. You know, it's like an ever receding horizon that it's like a carrot.
You're chasing it. You're chasing it.
And you just keep going. And once you accept that you just like the look of the carrot and you don't even need to eat it, you can just follow the carrot around happily.
And do you know why it's a ever receding horizon?
Why?
And you can keep chasing it forever?
Because it's not real.
The world is flat.
Yeah, I guess that is true.
We is flat, but it's also infinitely flat. So take that.
Like a plane instead of a sphere. I was going to get my hair cut. And, you know, my guy likes the conspiracies, and I was early, and the guys whose hair he was cutting was like, so any new conspiracy theories? And I was like, oh, it's not just me. Okay.
I love that you go there for that. He should start a YouTube channel.
Yeah. And he didn't mention conspiracies to me this time because I think he got it out of his system with the guy before, but he was like, I just heard him say a snippet of something because I was going in and out of paying attention, but it was like, flat earthers don't really believe the earth is flat. And I wanted to go, well, they should have called themselves something else then.
The bad name, bad nomenclature.
One might think that they think that.
Dude, I'll pitch his show right now. It's called Conspiracy Cuts. There's many, many hairstyle shows, barber shows online, but I don't think any of them are dedicated to solely talking about conspiracy theories with clientele. And I think it would do great.
That's actually a really good idea. Yeah, that could be a very good series, especially if the people get so shocked at what he's saying that they jerk their heads and mess up their haircut somehow, and then they get a free haircut.
They get a freaking razor in the eye. It'd be great.
Yeah,
it's good stuff.
Yeah, it is a wonderful. It's a fascinating. The UFO thing is just. It's never gonna. There's never gonna be anything with it. But boy, I love watching these guys go. Here's this book. It's imminent. It's imminent.
It's imminent.
It's right around the corner.
It's foreboding as hell.
Foreboding.
Imminent. Foreboding is when you have four boats, not just one.
That's true.
And it's
a lot of
fun.
people don't know.
Yeah. It's like, which one is pulling the tube? We don't know.
Man. Anyway.
Well, fun. And Vegas was hot as fuck?
Dude, it was really, really hot. Yeah. We stayed mostly indoors and wouldn't go outside very much. But the first day when we got there, it was like 107. And it was like, oh, this is a type of heat that, as Steve was saying, is impossible to like be okay with.
And at the end of the day, Vegas probably loves it because it keeps people indoors. They ain't going out. They're not going to be hopping.
Oh, yeah.
They're not going to hop, you know.
That's a good point.
Casino.
I was wondering because we went into one casino and it was like empty and it was like the really nice one and like Encore or something. And I was like, I wonder if people aren't going to the nice places because like staying at the nice hotels because they're not going to spend so much money when they know that it's like miserable to be outside, basically.
Mm-hmm. They're going to Circus and staying there for a long time.
Golly, man, there's some people, some places have limits or should have like some places should be imploded. And that place is one of them. And I have stayed there and it is insane. Also the Mirage, it was sad to see that because it's shut down, but also
that's wild.
Yeah, like and I was there. I was trying to remember when with Grace, but I was there during an implosion one time, and it was so you weren't. Okay, cool. I was like, was Joe there? Like I was trying so hard to remember
Yeah,
where.
I'd remember that.
Yeah, and I like people were walking around. They all looked like mimes because their faces were just caked in dust. It was crazy, and the
Whoa.
dust was so incredible that it like atomic bombed into the you could see the wall of debris coming into the other hotels, and so they would like keep all the doors shut, and you'd have to like go around to get into different entrances. And the craziest thing because you're like breathing in the oldest, dirtiest like building ever.
Mm-hmm.
So it was pretty crazy. But I'm curious to see what happens when they implode the Mirage, which is also the name of the Killers album, Imploding the Mirage.
Look at us go full circle. We did it.
I'm JD Vance, and I'm running for vice president. Okay. That was more charismatic.
I really do hope you could, since you have started a TikTok account. You could have fun with this. You could have fun, is all I'm saying. That mirror idea is great.
Do you think it's too late, though?
I think you could still do the mirror thing. The mirror thing's fine, because they're going to be making fun of him for that until he does something else.
Which, at the rate he's giving us gifts, there's gold.
You know, it's good. It's good times.
Well, thank you. Anything else, Joe, that we should?
No. Just been it's been pretty slow going on my side. Been watching some movies. I went to Alien Romulus, which, if you are a fan of that franchise at all, it is fucking awesome.
Really cool.
It is a really well made movie. I enjoyed it a lot.
If you decide to go again, hit me up. Maybe I'll do. Okay. Honestly, I'd be nervous because horror movies. I can't think the last time I saw a horror movie in theaters. But there's no way.
Yeah, it's real good. It's like every Alien franchise. It has this great mix of sci-fi, thriller, horror, and it's just really well made. It's one of the movies where I was sitting there going, "Oh, that's a cool shot. That's
really cool,
cool choice." And they really made a world. And yeah, but I watched 2 movies recently that have made me feel like I'm like officially old. And it was this movie, and I saw Twisters, and they both have casts where I'm looking at these people going, "These are babies in space. That's a baby chasing that tornado. These are young babies in these roles." And I don't think they were this young prior, but they probably were. Like when I watch Aliens or Alien, I don't feel like I'm watching babies. Like I still feel like I'm watching a Bill Paxton that is slightly older. Same with Twisters. Wow, Bill Paxton. Through line here. Like he seemed like an old man, but
great actor, by the way.
Great actor. We love him. But in Twisters and also Alien Romulus, I'm like, oh, these are just 18-year-old, just getting their feet wet humans. And
how old was Sigourney Weaver in Aliens?
I thought older, but apparently she was like 20.
Yeah, that's like, what happened? It doesn't make any sense. Because when I watch movies, I assume that they're always old. Same with sports. It can't be me. It can't be my problem. Same with
No, she was 28. Okay, so that makes more sense. Yeah. Okay, good. She was 28.
Okay, that makes sense.
But everybody else in it was older. They were like 46, 39, 48, 53, 42.
Okay.
This one, I think it was like 18, 21.
Okay.
25.
So that's fair.
Yeah.
So they did get younger.
Yeah. It's not just us. We're fine.
It's not just us. They got younger. There's a show called Love is Blind, and I guess there's like a Australian version or maybe British version, but they have older people, and it's a much, I guess, better season because the older people are somewhat more mature. They're in their 30s, 35, 36 rather than 25, 24.
And they're fleshed out human beings, and they have things to talk about.
Yeah. So it's like, I guess, having an effect on people's viewing habits because they're like, oh, it's kind of nice to watch people, who have fully formed brains and aren't just there solely to become famous on Instagram, but
or bone. Hey, my name's Derek. I'm 23. Love to party.
Exactly.
Job? Oh, I'm between things. But when I'm not between things, love to party.
I'm a club promoter.
Yeah, that's the one.
I do the club promoter. Yeah.
Yeah.
I work in marketing.
Aspiring DJ.
Aspiring DJ. Yeah.
I don't have any equipment.
We were looking at the line for like getting into the clubs. It's like, whoa, that is those days are gone.
Different world. I have never been in a club.
Really?
Like a club. Have you been in a club that is like a club?
In Vegas and in LA, like when I was maybe 22, 23. And even then, I've never felt like I belonged there. I've never been like, this is comfortable to be here. And it was, I think once in Vegas, and I think that's gone, right? I mean, you're never going to go.
I don't think so. I don't think there's a reason for me to yet.
Mm-hmm, that's true.
Give it time. We'll see.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's it. That's my update. Watched movies, work a lot, and my son's getting good at basketball, and that's fun to watch.
Oh, really cool.
Yeah.
Well, good luck to him.
Yeah. It's been a joy watching him improve and like actually want to improve and ask questions. And I'm like, you want to listen to me?
Yeah.
The guy that got cut from his junior year basketball team? I got you.
Like that? That's great, man. Well, I hope he gets very good, and don't let him do any kind of don't let him do arts stuff or theater or performance or
no, none of that garbage.
Okay, don't let him start getting into reading or school.
Yeah, he's one of the smart kids. It's cool.
Is he?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
A's?
They don't exist yet in his schooling, but he made the the special like track that's like, okay, here's the gifted kids track, and they put him over there and they start feeding him different food, and they give him supplements, and then they injections, and then they also do that like surgery that makes him taller.
Yeah,
it's really cool.
Good, that's awesome, man. That sounds really healthy and smart and good. It's cool they're doing that. Is that Obama put that in, right? That was Obama's.
Yeah. Thank God. Actually, it was his wife, because they're the same person.
That's true. A lot of people don't know that. Yeah. Thanks for watching Conspiracy Cuts, everybody. We'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.